Good morning. I'm the Reverend Rachael Hayes, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst. Welcome to you, old friends and new, young and old. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. Today, we are welcoming our new members and thinking about the role of comfort in spiritual community.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Frick. I'm the DRE at the UUSA. Where is life sending you? Here, now. Don't flinch. Where will you go? Across the street to learn the name of your neighbor. Across the city to support interfaith dialogue. To witness the practice of neighbors whose faith has different names, uses different words than yours. Is life calling you to come closer to the grief around you? Not with words, but with empathy and kind silence. Sometimes there is no fixing sadness, and we must instead weather it. But together we make the journey much more possible than alone. Where does life send you? To coffee hour to start the brew? To a class to accompany young students in experiencing everything that Unitarian Universalism can be for us, both as individuals and as people practicing together in community? Go where your heart pulls you. Catch up to that insistent call, to the thing that waits for you, the soft place where your talent can rest and your joy bubble up. The sound, the lights, the homeless shelter, the tasks of governance practiced with care, as much as lighting any chalice, as crucial as singing any song. There is somewhere you can be. There might not be a parking space reserved sign you can see, but there is a yes for you from the universe. Whether your task is to work or to heal, to rest or to play, it is time to go where life sends you and be who you are meant to be. Come, let us worship.
Today, we celebrate the new members who have joined this society recently. And due to the pandemic, recently means roughly the last 2 years. We have a lot to celebrate. I'm grateful to the Ministry of Welcome and Membership and their predecessors in the membership committee for their work in welcoming guests, to the ministers and lay leaders who laid the foundations, both literally and figuratively, of this spiritual home, and to all of you for creating a loving community that people want to join. The Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst is a congregation of the larger Unitarian Universalist Association, but it would not exist without the work, love, dedication, and passion of its members. The members of this society are the ones who govern this congregation, not an external body. Today, we celebrate our newest members. Usually, we meet our Ministry of Welcome and Membership as they greet us at the beginning of the service, but here they are in the middle of the service to welcome our new members.
Hi, I'm Mary Herman. I'm a member of the Ministry of Welcome and Membership. And welcome to you, new members. Just a few words about membership. For over a century, members and friends have gathered here striving to be a moral force for good. A force with the power to change, to heal, to comfort, and to care in a world that is too large for each of us alone. We're grateful today for each one of you, that you have chosen this community. And since ours is a denomination without creed or doctrine or shared belief, there may be some who wonder, what does hold us together? What holds us together are our shared values. Here we draw wisdom from all the world religions, from science and humanism, art, music, nature, and poetry, and from each other. We are guided by our 8 principles, held not as a creed, but as an opportunity to gather together in common ethic. Together, we use our moral imagination to connect the world as it is to the world we long for it to become. It is up to each of us then to decide what we're going to believe about good and evil, about God, about goodness and love and justice, and what we think they mean and what they ask of us in our daily living. Ours is a faith for this world, this life, and as such, we are promising each other to live this life as though it really matters. Here you'll be part of a caring community where we help each other navigate the realities of life. We hope that part of your choice to join came when you found yourself discovering and saying, these are my people, and that's a beautiful discovery. What we want for you also is to find here an ever deepening sense of belonging that comes from knowing that you are truly seen, heard, known, and held. And this doesn't happen overnight. This will unfold for you over time. Love takes time. Care takes time. Belonging takes time. Still, there is no more critical task for our lives than the courage to love and to be there honestly and fully for one another. Loneliness and despair are everywhere these days. Yet here, the promise we offer is that you do not walk alone. Just as we're reminded to be amazed by the beauty of the world, the companionship of those who love us, amazed even by the beating of our own hearts, we know that we are called to help heal our harsh, hurting world. Together, we're learning to build a beloved community where racism, oppression, fundamentalism, and hate cannot have the final word. Together, we are taking action to address the climate crisis. In so many ways, large and small, we are committed to living for the well-being of all. That is what it means to be in covenant with each other. Someone once said that the most radical thing we can do is introduce people to each other. We invite you then to be radical. Jump in and get to know us and help us get to know you. Learn with us, take action with us, be bold, make some noise, take up space, bring your whole self in, your full identity, your questioning mind, your expansive heart. Bring your enthusiasm, your fresh ideas, your ideals, your skills, and co-create this congregation with us. And if you're unsure about what you have to offer, you'll find support here to test your wings and boldly try something new. We are only as strong as the bonds and relationships we create together. The beauty of our congregation and the moments we share are rare and precious gifts, and it's up to each of us to choose how to respond. We are all in this together. Welcome to this circle of belonging. Welcome home.
Good morning. My name is Libby Stanford, and I am a member of the Ministry of Welcome and Membership. To our congregation, you should have received a document this morning in your order of service. that has a little bio and a picture of most of our new members. We have a couple who will be a little bit more delayed and will appear in next week's announcements. But that is a hope that you can get to know and make some connections with our newest members. Karen Mack is going to spotlight our new members as I call their names. For the new members, if you do not have your video turned on and you would like to turn your video on when I say your name, please do so. Our newest members are Melinda Ewan, who hopefully will be spotlighted. Welcome, Melinda. Brenda Bushhouse and Charlie Schwick. Welcome. John Gerber. Welcome, John. Linda Honan. Welcome, Linda. Ellen Cosmer. There's Ellen. Good morning, Ellen. Welcome. Dia Pavel. I have not seen her yet this morning. Susan Gofredo. Welcome, Suzanne. Mary Claire Wellinger. Welcome, Mary Claire. I think Mary Claire is having trouble with her video, but we welcome you. Megan Dewar and Betsy Wheeler and Letty. Welcome to you. Mary McKenna, and I don't think I've seen Mary this morning. Leslie Matlin and Fred Bloom. And I think at least Fred is here, but I don't know if he turned on his video. But welcome to you, Leslie and Fred. Oh, yay. Good morning. Welcome. And then finally, Nancy Hampshire. And I have not seen Nancy this morning. So welcome, to you all. And I hand the service back over to Rachel.
So the way this works, I am going to ask two questions, one to the new members and one to the continuing members of the congregation. And the response to both questions will be a good, strong yes. But I invite you to feel the congregation around us. Switch your screen back to gallery view so that you see everybody in all of our beautiful little boxes, faces and names. Oh, it's so wonderful to see all of you. Take a look at one another. New members, I invite you to unmute at this time.
Okay.
All right. Okay, new members, will you join this community wholeheartedly, contribute to its life and work generously, participate in its governance thoughtfully, and build for its future faithfully?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, and now this is for the continuing members. You are welcome to unmute and respond to the question by speaking out loud or by writing yes in the chat or giving a thumbs up to the camera, because a lot of us are on gallery view and can see you. Get ready. Continuing members, will you welcome your newest siblings in good faith, accept them as they are, teach them your treasured traditions, open to their perspectives, and grow with them, knowing that our community is stronger for each of us belonging here?
Yes.
It would feel a little different in person, but it's still joyful. Please welcome these new members with your love and applause and words and emoji of affirmation in the chat.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
During that sweet 2-month window where we actually had multi-platform services in the sanctuary, those of you who attended may have seen this sign in the coat room if you attended in person. You may prefer to keep your coat in the sanctuary. Not because we were going to lead the service outside, though I did take us out for a fire drill that time in 2020, but because the sanctuary windows were open for ventilation. It was cold in there, and the furniture was rearranged so that most people were sitting on the pews rather than chairs for social distancing. It was joyful to be together, but it wasn't really comfortable. To our new members, welcome. Don't get too comfortable. To everybody else, same thing. Welcome. Don't get too comfortable. We don't come into religious community to be comfortable. We may come to receive comfort and to give comfort, but we're not putting being comfortable on our priority list. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about comfort traps in the context of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from Birmingham jail. The difference between a negative peace that requires those who are oppressed to endure mistreatment for the comfort of their oppressors, and a positive peace that comes from justice. As someone who is white, educated, cisgender, and relatively able-bodied, I am frequently on the comfort side of that negative piece, whether I'm trying to arrange it for myself or not. And I'm here to tell you that so long as we are comfortable with that negative piece, it keeps us trapped, limited, and locked outside of the miracle of beloved community. And I'm saying this as somebody who winds up more frequently on the comfort side, tempted by the comfort trap. Tema Okun, in her work on white supremacy culture, talks about its characteristics. Not all of us have the same relationship to whiteness, but we all have to find our way in a larger system of white supremacy. Among these white supremacy culture characteristics are the right to comfort, power hoarding, and fear of conflict. 3 different types of comfort trap. The right to comfort is the expectation of never facing discomfort. I'm not coming for your sweatpants or anything incidental here. I'm not asking you to be uncomfortable for discomfort's sake. I'm specifically asking for us to pay attention to how comfort is working in relationship with others, especially across lines of race and power. What happens when someone disagrees with you or doesn't let you have your way? It's possible that this may be tender for you, especially if you were formed in an environment where disagreement and conflict were not allowed, or if you're somebody who tries to stay in control all the time. Take a breath. Let it out. Find your own pace for your breath. I invite you to notice the feelings inside your body. Not emotions, nothing so complicated as making or communicating meaning, but the physical feelings. Still breathing in and out at your own pace. Do you feel hot or cold anywhere? Are you thirsty or hungry? Does any part of your body hurt? Where are the muscles tight? Where are the muscles relaxed? What would it feel like to stretch or flex? If it would feel good to you to move a little bit, go ahead. You're not blocking anyone's view. How does it feel to have simply paid attention to how your body is? Was there any change? All right, this constellation of white supremacy characteristics, the comfort traps, touches on something we've talked about before, binary thinking, either or. It lures us into false binaries like the one between I'm in charge and I'm not safe. It's possible to be safe and not the one in charge. If something's not the way we like it, it leads us into catastrophizing and worst case scenarios. Like I said, all of us exist within white supremacy culture and are subject to these characteristics. But the system is tilted so that power generally flows to white people and toward whiteness. And the desire to be kind to yourself alone is not problematic. Wear your slippers, wear your sweatpants. That's not the kind of comfort that we're talking about. But when we start to prioritize our comfort over doing the right thing, over being open to the people around us, that's when it starts to be a harmful characteristic. Expecting a right to comfort might look like the most powerful person in the room, in a family, in town, in any group, always having their needs met first. Not being inconvenienced by the more pressing needs of a less powerful person. It might look like attacking, scapegoating, or shaming those who bring tension to the surface. Think of the way Dr. King was publicly shamed by the 8 Birmingham clergymen. It might look like accusations of racism being a bigger deal than racist acts, or defending oneself from accusations of harm based on the goodness of one's intentions. It might look like a white person equating having a relative in jail with the mass incarceration of Black Americans. It might look like changing the story to make it about oneself rather than the person who was directly affected. I'm guessing that most of us have seen these things done, even if we haven't done them ourselves. Take a breath. Like with each of the characteristics, there are antidotes. And they're not all easy, but they do help us grow into spiritual and emotional wholeness. It's when we move beyond our comfort zones that we grow. There's a cartoon I've seen on the internet that probably comes from somewhere that I should be able to name, but I can't right now. It looks like this. 3 concentric circles. The center, smallest circle, is the comfort zone. The outer circle is the danger zone. And in between them, in the middle circle, is the learning zone. The trick is that these zones are not static. They move with practice and intention. It may be that just one step outside of my comfort zone is the danger zone. But if I get bold enough to hang out just an inch beyond the comfort zone, the learning zone does its job. Maybe the learning zone expands, illuminating some things at the edge of the danger zone that turn out to be a little less scary than we thought. Willingness to learn and practicing discomfort rather than resting in comfortable expertise are the antidotes to expectation of comfort. Seek out more perspectives. Don't just get feedback from the people likely to agree with you. Learn about yourself. Learn about race and culture, including your own. And at the same time, know that a lot of important things are not about you. Alongside the right to comfort, we have fear of conflict. Fear of open conflict, which would keep tensions simmering under the surface indefinitely, rather than erupting to the surface where we can deal with them. Some of us were taught to always be polite. Somehow this can get translated into insults spoken in a calm or gentle voice being acceptable, and cries for help or justice being dismissed as having the wrong tone. Sometimes this means dismissing emotions and emotional people and giving the powerful person credit for having the logical position. Sometimes it means dismissing hard truths because they are impolite. Think of banning books that tell the truth, right? When fear of open conflict comes up, one of the things we can do is to do what Tupac's telling us, to find some empathy for the person we're fighting. We can never go nowhere unless we share with each other. We got to start making changes, learn to see me as a brother instead of two distant strangers. And this line, I'd love to go back to when we played as kids. Assume that everyone has their position for a reason and try to see it from their point of view. Acknowledge your own emotions so they don't affect you without your knowledge. And a couple more Tupac didn't give us quite so directly. We can dissolve this fear of open conflict in these ways too. Share information about how decisions are made, not just the results. It's okay to practice conflict before you're in the middle of it and process after it's over with somebody you trust. It's okay to ask a neutral third party to observe or mediate. In general, when conflict is scary, it's our impulse to tense up into it, either bracing for it or lashing out preemptively. Sharing this tension, so long as the people involved remember whose conflict it is and don't try to push it onto others, and the others don't try to make it their own, is a great way to soften that locked tight opposition. When fear of conflict makes you tense up, find ways for your community to help you relax and be responsive rather than reactive. Maybe just one person, a friend, or minister, hint, hint. But don't keep the pressure of conflict all on you. And the last characteristic for today, power hoarding. Keeping the power, money, and decision-making where it currently is. This looks like power always staying in the same hands, leaders feeling threatened when someone suggests a change, possibly even attacking, smearing those who suggest changes to discredit them. The antidotes for power hoarding are staying connected to the mission over the way we do things, learning to live with change as a constant, and working to explicitly share power and information. Every time I spend time with these white supremacy culture characteristics and their antidotes, I truly think that my life is better the more I can live into the antidotes. Our congregation and community flourish when we can weather conflict well and come through it still talking and caring for each other, when we prioritize justice and mission over comfort, when we share power and the burdens and rewards of leadership. When the eighth principle calls us to grow into our spiritual wholeness, this is what we're talking about. Our opening hymn, Comfort Me, is a comfort trap when we expect that one narrator receives all the comfort. But when we sing it together, each of us deserving comfort, companionship, and support, it's the way out of these comfort traps, sharing comfort, making sure all of us have what we need, and always opening up that idea of us to include more than the us that makes us comfortable. If the call to move from comfort traps to beloved community has inspired you, I encourage you to read more from Tema Okun's page on the topic. And I also invite you to consider attending an upcoming workshop offered by the Truth School on February 27th. It's called Radical Inclusivity, Access, Justice, and Leaning into Discomfort. We can open our hearts away from our comfort and toward our neighbors and be part of building the beloved community where all are welcome in practice, not just on paper. We can make these choices Every time we have the opportunity to choose between the comfort traps that stifle our growth and the antidotes that help us to flourish, we can do this. How beautiful it will be. Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.